Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com, and in this video I want to show you and talk about 5 lessons for new traders that are just getting started with your stock trading or really with whatever type of trading you're doing. But if you want success, whether that's, like I said, stock trading, options trading, forex trading, futures trading, all of these types of trading do have common themes that go throughout, and that's what I want to focus on here. And the reason why I'm doing this video is upon a little self-reflection and just being honest with myself, I had to admit, Clay, the past couple videos you've done in this segment have had some pretty big numbers. 682% in one trade, and then Dan with his $54,000 in 1 week. But in full disclosures, and just to keep things transparent and as real as possible, this is not how these people started, and this is not how it's going to start for you. So that brings up the more than valid question, the more than logical question of, okay, Clay, well then where does it all start? And that's what I want to, like I said, focus on here is, I like doing those videos. I think they're very motivational. I think they're very inspirational. And if you watch both those, which are both linked down below in the description section, there is valuable learning lessons even in those videos. So it's not me just focusing on the numbers, but still, those are big numbers. I fully admit that. And what I want to focus on now is, like I said, where does it all start? And as I do in all these video segments, none of this is theory. You're going to see a real life testimonial here that I'm going to go through and break down. And then in those videos, those are all real life results. So point here being, what I go forward in terms of talking about these 5 lessons, this is not theory. This is not, I think this is how it is. No, this is truly how it is. So right here is going to be the testimonial that I'm going to use to take 5 lessons from, and this is just somebody that is a member of mine, and they were kind enough to submit this. I should say unsolicited, so I didn't ask them. It kind of came out of nowhere, and these are the best types because I thought, there's a lot of good things in here that would complement those first 2 videos that I just talked about quite nicely. So lesson number 1 I want to focus on is this comment right there. Once I slowed down. So what is the lesson here? When you're new, when you're just getting started, what do I want you to realize? First and most important, slow down. Slow down. I see way too many people rush. And when I say see way too many people, I really do. I've been around now since 2013. So, I've worked with many people. I've seen a lot out there. And one of the things is people rush and they don't take their time. So please slow down. And I found this pretty interesting out here, but just, so we have some scientific evidence here. So it's just not me sitting here spewing my opinion. This opinion is based on not only, like I said, experience from working with people, but the scientific community agrees. I found this pretty interesting, but the average American attention span is only 8 seconds. And the attention span of a goldfish is apparently 9 seconds. I'm not quite sure how they measured that, but like I said, you can always go and, click and look at these scientific studies if you really want to go that deep down the rabbit hole. But point here being, think about that. If the average attention span is 8 seconds, then why would you think, hopefully it's not shocking that there's a lot of people that, I was working really hard. Well, yeah, you're working hard, but I have a feeling you're going way too fast relative to what your attention span actually is. And that actually makes quite a bit of sense. You're beast mode, and sure, you're going through a bunch of stuff, but when your attention span is 8 seconds, maybe it's a little bit better to slow down and not rush. And then down there, you can see that the United States Army Research Institute, they discovered that ultradian rhythms, I don't know how to say that word, but if you can, then you are a better man than I. But they have 90-minute cycles. So thus, you could take a break every 90 minutes, meaning calm down. It's okay to take a break, but you need to slow down when you're new, just getting started, because there's lots of moving parts. There's lots of pieces that need to be put into place. And if you rush through this, knowing that your attention span is probably right around 8 seconds, that is just a recipe for disaster. So slow down, don't rush. The markets are not going anywhere. The next part I want to focus on here. Started following technical patterns, I've done so much better. So think about the first part was once they slowed down, so slowing down also helped them do so much better, right? Because that's part of this entire sentence here. But the next part though, started following technical patterns, I've done so much better. And then they also say, I put in place a system, and they always use stop losses. So what can we take from all of this? They slowed down, they started following technical patterns, they put in a system, and they're always using stop losses. So it seems obvious, but it's not. It's not. You have to have a strategy. You have to have a system. You have to be able to plan a trade. And when you're new, I get it, and I was the same way, see it all the time. People are like, yeah, I'm planning my trade. And then I ask them a few questions about their trade, and if it's an actual, trade plan at all, it's very, very basic. And unfortunately, if you want to have long-lasting success and, be consistent, you got to have a little bit more than basic plans. Now, you also don't need to swing to the other end where it's, massive chaos and you have 8,000 indicators and you have all these trend lines and you have all these different things where you're pulling out calculators and doing like calculus and stuff. No, I'm not saying you have to go that far, but you do need to go a little bit further than some sort of basic plan. And, like I said, that assumes, of course, you even have a plan. In many cases, it's like, no, that's not even close to being a plan. But a good step, and what this person reveals is, what is this strategic plan? What does all this need to be built upon? It needs to be built upon risk control. They mentioned using stops. Stops just stands for stop losses, and that is one part of risk control. Now, just because you have a stop loss, just because you're using a stop loss, again, that is definitely part of a basic trade plan. But that doesn't mean that it's actually still valid, because way too many times I'm like, wait, why would you put a stop loss right there? It literally makes no sense to have put a stop loss right there. So again, that's the difference between basic, but you need to get a little bit beyond basic, because just because you're using a stop loss doesn't mean that you actually know what you're doing. Sure, you're much better, you're much farther ahead than somebody that's not using a stop loss, but like I said, that's the fine line there. You got to actually have a true strategic plan, but all plans at the end of the day are not based on winning. Winning doesn't matter in the world of trading, because a blind, drunk monkey can win, right? You can throw a dart and hit, but it's all about risk control. How do you behave? What do you do when you're actually wrong with the trade? And yeah, you're going to be wrong. That is the one guarantee I'm willing to make. At some point in your trading journey, you will be wrong. Everybody's wrong, including Warren Buffett. He's lost money too by being wrong. And I found this interesting. What happened? Well, he says, I did not do this in the beginning. What is this? He was not focused on managing risk, and he lost about $550. So when you don't have a strategy, when that strategy's not based on risk management, risk control, then yes, that sort of thing happens. Here's a person that, and for them, 550 was, quite a bigger amount. You gotta be able to focus on the right things. Next part. As of this week, I've made the following: $41.81, $85.50, $88.70, and $122.90. So the moral of the story here: start small and scale slowly. If you are here, when I say here, I mean the financial markets, but if you're here in the financial markets, to go big or go home, honestly, it could work. You could go all in, you could score a massive winning trade, and boom, you just took a small amount to a much, much larger amount. Go big, go home. It could work. It really could. But here is the problem with that. It's not a strategy. There is no way to scale that strategy. It's just simply not scalable. And in the big picture, you're eventually going to get roasted, because the way the market works, it might give you a go. It might give you a win. It might give you another win. And you know what? If it's really feeling cruel, it'll give you another one or two more wins. And then you're thinking, this is great. I got it all figured out. But in all actuality, all you're doing is gambling. All you're doing is, with the go home or go big or go home mentality. And then you're just going to get absolutely crushed. So yes, you could score a huge win. But think about it. If you score a huge win, why would you stop? You're not going to stop right there. You're going to say, wow, that was awesome. That was great. Let's do it again. And so people, I love when people are like, well, I'm just going to get the one win and then I'll be done. No, you're not going to get one win and you're going to be done. You're going to say, wow, I can't believe I just made all that money sitting from home pressing buttons on the internet. Well, yeah, I like this. Let's do it again. But that's never going to last long term. And then the next part here, I just wanted to thank you for everything you have in your classes. So this person is part of my classes. And then also, I am also watching about 1.5 hours of your video daily. So the final couple lessons here, when you're like I said, new or just getting started, please invest into learning. And I get it, Clay. Dude, come on, man. You are only saying that because you offer classes. You want me to invest in your classes. And that's more than fair. That's very observant, maybe a little cynical, because it's true whether or not I offer classes, but I understand where you're coming from. The only thing I can really say is I really do believe in this stuff. In fact, this is a blast from the past. This was one of the first videos I did back in 2014, but I talked about this, and in that video, I just let people know, hey, listen, I've done it both ways. I've done the free education, the teach yourself route, but after going down that route and then choosing to get into real estate, I was glad to have invested just under $5,000 before I ever did my first ever real estate deal. Like I said, I'll put that and link that video in the description too if you want to go and watch that. But I literally break down all the costs that I had and was more than willing to, invest into myself. Because like I said, I went down the teach myself how to trade route with all the free information. And after that, train wreck of an experience, headache of an experience. When it was time, when I decided, well, now I want to get into real estate investing also, I was like, there's no way I'm doing that all over again in terms of trying to teach myself. Let me just invest into some structured learning. And from there, I'll just put it this way, I've made way more than $5,000 in my real estate investing. And then the other part right here, I am also watching about 1.5 hours of your video daily. And then if you remember back to that point, maybe you've already kind of connected those dots. You're saying, wait a second, 1.5 hours, I know that math. That's that 90-minute thing. Now, I have no idea if this person actually read this article or whatever, but I just found it very, very, I found that quite intriguing. And I guess this is just more of the scientific evidence that, hey, you know what, United States Army, good job, because according to this person, they're right around that same exact time period that you were talking about. So my point is this, try 90. What do I mean by try 90? Well, when you're new, when you're just getting started, just keep it at 90. Either limit yourself to 90 minutes per day, or just at least take a break or take some breaks after 90 minutes. So if you're just binge watching my YouTube videos, first off, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But you know what? After 90 minutes or so, maybe just take a break so you can, step away from my gorgeous voice and then come back and be able to absorb that much more information. And once again, this whole 90-minute thing, this is not my opinion. This is, the scientific evidence suggests it. And then, like I said, pretty cool that this little testimonial essentially confirmed the very scientific evidence that I'm talking about. So those are really the 5 things that you need to be focused on, okay? When you are getting started, you don't need to rush. Just start small. Scale slowly. I get it. Those big numbers are awesome. They're impressive to see, but everybody starts small, and you got to be able to build a strategy that you can scale slowly. And part of that is investing into yourself, investing into your education and learning, and then just keeping things in very manageable times. This person, I personally believe that a lot of reason they're having success is, yes, sure, I would love her and sit there because of my classes, and that's the only reason. No, that's not, that would be misleading. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're just taking their time and watching, modest amounts and letting them, themselves absorb the information that is being given, because that's a huge, huge thing with it. Too many times they signed up for my classes and then they beast mode them. They get through everything. I'm like, wait, you got through everything and what? Wow. And then they come back later on and say, yeah, Clay, you know what? I had to go back and rewatch a bunch of stuff because I went way too fast. And it all goes back to, the attention span of 8 seconds. Yeah, that probably makes sense. So, but like I said, I think this person, a lot has to do with just taking their time. So if you enjoyed this video, couple things. First off, please hit that like button if you want me to keep on making videos that offer up kind of these lessons and these little quick tips. Then, like I said, the easiest way to communicate that to me is to hit that like button. Also, check out the channel as a whole. There's lots of other content. There's other videos like this. There's live trading videos, lots of variety. So check out the channel. Hopefully you decide to become a subscriber and hit that subscribe button. Would love to have you part of the channel. And then if you're interested in more of what I have to offer, I do have a private community where you can trade with me and surround yourself with other traders. All these people that I've been talking about, they're all part of the membership, and they're all part of that community. And like I said, you can learn more about that community at claytrader.com/team. But thanks for hanging out. Hopefully these 5 lessons can help. And like I said, if you're brand new, if you're just a beginner, please keep these 5 lessons at the forefront of your mind as you get started with your journey. First off, thanks so much for watching the entire video. Real quick, before you go, I want to invite you to a live webinar, web class, training, workshop, online event whatever you want to call it, but it will be me live revealing to you what I've discovered that has allowed me to transform myself from being an employee to being my own boss, including how I had only one losing day out of 73 days in total. I'm going to cover 3 keys that have helped me unlock profitable consistency within the markets. The first key is super weird, but in a productive type of way. The second key is super awesome because it quite literally is wired into our DNA as humans, making it very easy to use. But in a cruel way, this becomes a pitfall for many traders. I'll explain it all though, including how to avoid the pitfall that it creates for some. And yeah, the third key, when you hear it, sounds way too good to be true, but it's not, and I'll show you how it all works. Then at the end, I open it up for a question and answer session that is, again, totally live. Even if you can't make the live session, please still sign up as it will be recorded, and you can go back and watch the replay that I will send you. Click the image on the screen or click the link down in the description box so you can get the date and time and claim your spot, which I should note is limited due to the fact that this truly is a live event. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll be seeing you soon.